Well, welcome to the April 1st full board meeting of Community Board 7 Manhattan. I'd like to ask members to show hands if you adopt the agenda. Thank you. All opposed? Roberta, you vote? No. Okay. Thank you. Thanks to Goddard Riverside for providing this space for us again this evening. Their programs have served our community in so many ways, from seniors to homeless outreach, to housing, to supports for youth. And their roots go back on the west side to 1892 in a prior form, but they have served us well for many, many years. I'm required to announce those who are attending this meeting by Zoom and who have been given waivers for the evening. Shelley Fine, because of illness. Miranda Goodwin-Raab, illness. Louisa Craddock, illness. Seema Reddy, injury. Will Ortiz, unexpected child care. And Sophia Valla, unexpected travel. We are awaiting the appointment of our new members to be selected by the borough president. That will probably occur in early to mid-May. And we have learned from them that there were over 100 applicants for membership on this community board. That includes both new and re-upping members. So we remain a very sought-after board for folks to join. A number of board members ran into a snafu in receiving information regarding the group interviews required for all new and returning applicants. As best as we can determine, in most cases, either the borough president's office emails went into spam folders, their records did not reflect the most current emails members are using, or members missed the email they were sent. I believe that mistakes happen, but each mistake should only happen once. So for the future, I'm recommending 2 actions for our office to minimize a recurrence of these problems. First of all, we will share updated email lists with the borough president's office next February, and we will forward a copy of the borough president's interview schedule to all board members who are up for renewal coming from our office email to ensure that you receive it and it is not routed to a folder that you can't access. The executive committee continues to review the member survey data, and one issue that surfaced was that many board members do not know how to access information that is actually available to them. The committee folders on the Google Drive were developed to give everyone a point of access, but Alex Bell, our technology and communications officer, is developing a further enhancement, and I will ask him to explain what his plans are.
Okay, yes, we got a lot of feedback about Google Drive. So we've developed an app that will email everyone daily with a kind of update about what has been added to Google Drive, which folders, and of course you can unsubscribe from it or change your preferences so that you can subscribe to all folders or one folder. And you'll get an email about this, but hopefully this will help people see what's being added to the drive and be able to easily click on it and see it before meetings or after meetings or anytime. So again, you'll see the email and feel free to reach out to me if you have any thoughts or feedback, but we're always working to try to make it easier for everyone to participate.
Yeah. Can we get you a microphone?
I know that it rises to that level of importance, but I believe we've lost 1 or more members during the course of the last year or so, and pending new appointments. How many members does CB7 have now?
47. I think that's accurate. As of today. Um, So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Max to give the DM report.
Thanks, Beverly. So first, thanks to Goddard for hosting us. We really appreciate and our partnership with Goddard. Next, flagging for everyone that the Youth Education Library Committee meeting for March has been rescheduled, and it's happening this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. The committee may or may not also meet at their usual date later this month, and that's going to be ironed out in the coming days, I think. Next, I wanted to let everyone know that the Borough President's Office has a link on their website, and you can reach out to us if you need it, but share it with anyone that you want. For free tax prep, might be an interesting service. I think you have to make below 150 grand or something like that. So it might be of interest to you, although I know the deadline's coming up. Next, DSNY came to one of our Health and Human Services Committee meetings a couple months ago to talk about their containerization program. And they did a good job presenting, but there were still a lot of questions about that. So they've created 2 seminars where you can just log in on April 10th at 6 p.m. or April 24th at 4 p.m. And each seminar is an hour long, and they'll talk a little bit more about the different details. They kind of break it down where I think it's if you're under 9 residential units in your building, you do it one way, and if you're between 9 and 20 or something like that, a different way, and then for large buildings, a different way. So those might be good resources, and I'll send that link out tomorrow, actually. And then finally, I just want to flag for everyone that we do have our intern with us tonight here in person, Maisie. She's waving over there. And we're fortunate to have her. I'm a little less stressed now that we're fully staffed for a full board meeting. And that is my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Max. So next up, can we have a motion to approve the minutes from last month? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you very much. Unanimous. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Max and his team to call members of the public for the community session.
Thanks, and letting everyone know what appears to be the obvious now. We are only operational with 1 microphone tonight. So we'll start with Sue Peters. And I'll remind you there is a time limit, but then we'll call the rest of the list. But we are just working with 1. It sounds like Alex is going to give a verbal cue. Here you go, Sue. Here, you may need the microphone.
Yeah. Is it started? Okay. Hi, I'm Sue Peters, I'm a resident, and I want to talk more with the help of this electromagnetic reader about what happens when you put your cell phone to your head, whether you're an adult or a child. There's a child back there with a cell phone. This is what happens. Okay, I'm going to give a test. I have my friend Barbara here. She has a phone, and I have my friend James, and he has a phone. And they've come with me to help me do this test. Here is Barbara with the cell phone. When she makes a call, it goes to the cell phone antenna out there somewhere. And then it comes back, she calls James to his phone. Okay? And what is being transferred, you don't see. It's electromagnetic radiation, microwaves. It has an effect on your health, especially if you put your phone to your ear. It goes right into your brain. If women put it in their bra, it goes into their breast. Men put it into their hip pocket, it goes into their organs down there. Okay, so notice this meter is in units of microwatts. Watt is a unit of power, okay? Microwatts. 1,000,000 microwatts is 1 watt. Watts are what you use in your kitchen with appliances, right? We don't want to go up to 1,000,000 microwatts, okay? We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's the setting, okay? And now I'm going to ask Barbara. Barbara, is your phone on turned off? Okay, so now it's Barbara's turn. Okay, is your yeah? is is your phone turned off? No, turn it off. No, no, no. Turn it off. Turn it off. Is it turned off? It looks like it's on. You want to go help her? Why don't you go help her? Go ahead. I'll hold this. It's off. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this machine on. Okay. It goes on. There's a setting on here that's called max, and I'm going to use the max setting because it's the highest wavelength that is received by the person. And cell phones have wavelengths that go up and down, up and down. It's the highest one. It's the one that's going to affect your health the most. Okay. Right now, 22,000 microwatts. Okay, now turn it on.
Okay, all right, yes,
Okay, it's on.
it's on.
Okay. Oh, 170, 249,000 microwatts. 369,000 microwatts. Okay, James, call Barbara. Okay, now it's James' turn. Call Barbara. Hey, we're up to. You're putting that to your head. Oh, this is what that is. Go ahead. I'm not electromagnetic radiation. That's the sound, but you don't see what you see. Okay,
Okay.
finish up. Let me have
The
this.
reason why I'm here is that I was asked to give a presentation to the NYPC, my computer club in New York City, and I'm not much on physics, so I wound up reading this book by Arthur Thurston book. I'm not much on physics, so I wound up reading almost 90% of this book, The Invisible Rainbow. This guy is an expert on microwave radiation. He received an overdose of X-ray and was crippled by it. He can't be in the same. He can't be in the same room with a cell phone transformer because he's very sensitive to it. Basically, what your government and your politicians are doing is they're fomenting domicide, the killing of us all, the fomenting of brain cancer. What? Okay, go. Then exit and then exit and die if you want to. Then exit and die. I still have a lot of life in me. I don't know about you, but this is an excellent book. I recommend everyone read it. Arthur Furstenberg. He has several interviews on YouTube.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Beverly. Yeah.
Oh, good evening, everyone. My name is Jahaira Mejia. I'm the library manager for the Bloomingdale Library on West 100th Street. So I just want to quickly say we're in advocacy season right now. Every year we usually do a letter writing campaign, but this year is actually just online. Although after the 6-year proposed budget cuts, we are grateful that the city's FY26 budget proposal does not include cuts to libraries. However, with the significant increases in funding, we still need the support of our communities and city leaders. So we're asking, sorry. We're asking city leaders to increase our expenses and capital funding. And the communities, if you, starting on April 8th, you can go online to nypl.org/speak out and fill out the form to sign a letter. So we offer a lot of programs in the library. There's so many resources. Right now, Bloomingdale, I just want to mention and highlight 2 upcoming programs. For celebrating National Poetry Month, on Tuesday, April 15 at 2 p.m., we're going to have Poetry for All, where you can come in and read any poetry, a poetry share out, and this is for adults. And then also for starting on April 8th, every Tuesday, for the teens, we're going to be having STEAM time. So something, a new program. We usually have it for children's, but now we're offering for the teenagers from ages 12 and up. Thank you.
Actually. Next, can we go to someone named, oh, thanks, Maisie, Nandita. I think you're here in person. Yep. Thanks. Sure. No problem.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nandita. I'm a resident of CB7 for the last 2 years. This is my first time speaking here, so wish me luck. Last week, I saw a video of the arrest of Rumeza Ozturk near Boston. I used to live there for 4 years. I've literally been on that street. And it was incredibly scary watching her get grabbed by masked men on the street, handcuffed without being told who they were, or that they were federal officials or ICE officers. And it looked like she was being kidnapped, and there was no way for her to know who these people were. I think it's a public safety issue. It's a violation of her First and Sixth Amendment rights. And as civilians, we should be able to clearly tell if someone is arresting us who's is a member of law enforcement or is just like a random stranger predator. There should not be a group of masked men handcuffing someone off the street. I think there's no reason to arrest someone without a criminal history, or anyone really, in such a way, unless your goal is to stoke fear in everyone else. And I would like to ask the community board to discuss this issue with NYPD and other city officials and ask them to guarantee that they will refuse to cooperate with federal officers and agencies that conduct arrests in this manner and to protect people's, dignity and First and Sixth Amendment rights. And I would also like the community board to work with city officials to teach people what their rights are when interacting with law enforcement, ICE officials, and as well as what we can do as bystanders. If we see a situation happening, do we film it? Do we call someone? How do we report it? What do we do? Thank you.
Thanks. Someone named Michael next. Michael Sag? Cool.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. My name is Michael Sag. I'm managing director of WP Theater. We run a space on 76th and Broadway, and I wanted to share that we have a free community performance on April 16th, and I hope that you'll all be there to join us. Gail Brewer's office has agreed to help us spread the word in her weekly newsletter with a link for folks to sign up. If anybody wants a little extra information, I brought some along, and I'm also happy to talk to anybody about the work we do promoting women identified writers and directors. Thank you.
Thanks. We have Ilan next. I think he's joining on Zoom.
Hi. Thanks for letting me speak briefly. As some of you may have heard, today is the day that DSNY has decided to start fining owners for missorting of compost in their trash bins. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. At least I hoped it was. It is not. Hearing from folks that they have already seen fines. As a owner here in CB7, somebody who's lived here for a while, I have to say it's quite challenging to keep your trash bins sorted. We have vagrants coming by every day, unsorting our trash for us as a free service to us. We then get to pay DSNY for fines on that. We have tenants that don't choose to follow the instructions because there's no consequences to them. The consequences are to me as the owner. I know this seems like a minor thing, but you try to go elbow deep in somebody else's trash because they put coffee grounds in the wrong bin or a recycling can or a aluminum can in the wrong bin. So I hope the board will consider talking to DSNY about improving education. There really hasn't been enough education to the public about this issue. Or better yet, push with with whichever elected officials would be responsible for helping change the laws so that the people who cause the violation are the people who get fined, not the owners who have are stuck cleaning up after folks. As it is, it's hard enough being an owner in this city. I think so far this year, it looks like I'm at about $15,000 in compliance costs from the city alone for things like sprinkler inspections, new gas detectors, gas inspections of our pipes under local law 152. We deal with flat rents and increasing costs and increasing property taxes, and the last thing we need is more fines from DSNY because the rest of you all decided to be dirty. Thank you. Just as a heads up, we've lost audio online.
A Know Your Rights workshop will be held virtually this Sunday, April 6th from 4 to 5:30. So I have flyers and I'll leave them in the back for everyone. I can also email CB7 and they can get that out as well. The workshop will cover key topics such as understanding your legal rights, responding to ICE encounters, creating an emergency family plan, and accessing available legal resources. It'll be held in Spanish with live English translation. So you can go to Carlina Rivera's website, you can go to our website, you can call us if you have any questions about it. As a reminder, our office is now accepting submissions for the Congressional Art Competition. I know that with everything going on, let's do something awesome for the kids. If you are a high school student that resides in the New York 12th District, you should submit your art to our art competition, and the winning piece will be displayed for 1 year in the US Capitol. Submissions are due by April 25th. Congressman Adler's been doing a lot to fight back against the Trump administration. All the actions that have been taken against the rights of the American people, our federal workers, our entitlement programs, and our rule of law. If I don't get to everything that the congressman's done in the past month, because it's been a long month, everything is on our website, on our press releases, on our Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. So I'm gonna try to get through some of them and be respectful of the time. Earlier in the month, he forcefully condemned the Trump administration's brazen defiance of a federal court order and its unprecedented misuse of wartime authority to justify immigration enforcement. He led 240 of his colleagues in a letter demanding Trump reinstate Commissioners Burrows and Samuels of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, who were unlawfully fired. This action undermines the EEOC's mission to protect American workers from discrimination, including their ability to investigate charges of anti-Semitism, and upends the Commission's historic independence. Congressman Nather spoke out against and led a letter from the New York congressional delegation to express a strong opposition to Trump's executive order calling for the elimination of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. One last thing. He also signed on to a letter calling for the CDC not to scale back or eliminate its division of HIV prevention within the National HIV Center of HIV, et cetera, et cetera. We are continuing to work really hard. If you have any questions or concerns, email nather.house.gov or speak to me. I'll be in the back. Thank you.
Let's go to Simmery.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sinray. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at the Independent Budget Office. So I'm just here to introduce us. Is anyone familiar with the Independent Budget Office? Can I get a show of hands? We got one, we got two. Oh, we got a few, so not too many, which is perfect because I'm here to tell you guys more about us. We are a nonpartisan independent city agency. So we are a city agency, but we're independent in the sense that we don't report to any elected officials. We provide data-driven insights into the budget, city policy, operations, and programs for the public, for the city council members. And our purpose is really just to provide information to the community. How do we do this? We do this through 3 charter mandated reports that are published in tandem with the mayor's office plans on the budget. So the November plan, the executive budget, and the preliminary budget. So as you're aware, possibly, the preliminary budget came out in January, and we published an independent analysis where we do our own revenue and expenditure forecasts. But aside from the budgeting stuff, we also do year-round reporting around anything that has to do with the city government. If it's in the budget, we can take a look at it for you, and we can provide any kind of insights. So some examples of reports that we've done recently, we just published something on school buildings. We have a very robust education department. So we did a report on the age, accessibility, like access to air conditioning in school buildings. We did a report on stormwater fees, which is a measure of 18 seconds. We've also done, we recently had a request from your council member, Gail Brewer, to see the cost of opening all schoolyards as playgrounds after school hours. But yeah, we also do presentations, like me being here today. We also will be having a Budget 101 presentation next month. Sorry, really quick. I have some flyers in the back and a QR code you guys can scan for follow us on socials, follow our newsletter, and yeah, please come for the Budget 101 presentation. Yeah.
Thanks. I think I see Mariana here.
Hi everyone, Mariana Brazo from Lincoln Center. Just want to give you a few updates on what we've been up to in the past month. We've been working to get our Lincoln Center education teaching artists at local youth programs to make that connection with all of the arts. We successfully are now at 2 youth programs, the after school program at Goddard Riverside, Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center, and positive and creative arts program also hosted at Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center. We're going to be there once a month, every month till June. First workshop was on dance and music. Students had opportunity to create partner dances and choreography and record demos with music, lyrics, and instrumentation. The New York Public Library for Performing Arts, we worked with them to host a lunch and learn for the NYCHA Tenant Association leaders at Amsterdam Houses, Edition, and Harborview Terrace. It was great, and it was an opportunity to give more information about the Performing Arts Library and what it can do to offer more programming in the area. We also worked with the School of American Ballet this past Sunday. We had a Beauty of Ballet demonstration series for the local community where over 100 families from local Upper West Side were able to learn about the school, see students perform, and ask questions about what it's like to train to be a professional ballet dancer. We also are encouraging them to audition, and currently so far we have 5 local residents signed up to audition in the spring. And then lastly, we hosted 25 community members at Maestra Vida, which was this past Sunday and Monday by Ruben Blades for a wonderful performance. Coming up, lots going on. I have flyers in the back. Our Big Umbrella Festival starts April 4th through April 20. It is a kids, teens, and families festival with lots of programming. In Damrosch Park, there's going to be an installation, Los Trompos, which are spinning tops for kids to come to, along with creative arts workshops. This month, I also have our April flyer. We are rounding out our American Songbook series. We have a celebrating Earth Day with Juilliard, and we have a Via social dance. May 5th, we have our 17th Community Blood Drive in the atrium from 1 to 7. So that can be, you can find information about that online. And I just want to talk about New York Phil has a Ticket for All Access program where you can get $10 tickets to 3 concerts per season. I can talk about that afterwards if you're interested about what the qualifications for that are. Thank you.
Next, I think we have Senator Hoylman-Siegel online.
Thank you, Max. Hello, CB7. State Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel here, reporting live from Albany. We're working on the budget, but we've hit some roadblocks. But I will tell you that we did seem to have reached an agreement on the bell-to-bell cell phone ban for schools, meaning that kids can't have access to the devices during the school day. We're still stuck on a couple of other issues, which hopefully we work out soon. Discovery reform, making it such that when prosecutors mistakenly don't hand over evidence to the defense, that those cases are not thrown out if it's a technical error, but we have language because that's obviously a big deal for defendants. Involuntary commitment, another important civil liberties issue, but I think a lot of us recognize that we need to make some changes and directing people to treatment, particularly those on our subway platforms and our street corners who need help. The mask ban, which I know I've gotten a lot of emails about, seems not to be progressing. I think that'll be the relief for a lot of people, although we have to recognize the fact that masks are often worn to intimidate and threaten individuals, but there doesn't seem to be a resolution at this stage, but stay tuned. And then we're still need to discuss the MTA capital funding gap, which is $33 million, and we need to come up with a way to fill that. On other news, I'm going to be having a town hall called How to Oppose the Trump Agenda. It's going to be with Neera Tanden, who is CEO of the Center for American Progress Action Fund. That's going to be on Monday, April 25th. And speaking of resistance to the Trump agenda, this weekend, Assemblymember Micah Lasher and I were outside of the Tesla dealership in our district in the meatpacking neighborhood to introduce a new bill that is going to prevent Musk and Tesla from taking New York taxpayer dollars if they fail to fulfill their promises in a $1 billion economic development deal that has really been opaque and needs a lot of sunlight. Secondly, on the Trump front, I joined advocates at the Stonewall National Monument to protest the Trump administration erasure of trans references from federal websites. And we're urging in the budget $5.7 million in an increase for runaway and homeless youth programs, as well as the Transgender Wellness and Education Fund. I was very happy to see so many of our neighbors at our Shetty's event, where we awarded, in air quotes, the worst sidewalk sheds in the state Senate district. The overall winner or loser, depending on how you look at it, was at 51 West 86th Street. And Assemblymember Lasher and I, along with Councilmember Brewer, unveiled a new bill called Restore Reducing Excess Scaffolding and Timely Ongoing Repair Efforts, which will create financial incentives to remove scaffolding quickly and penalties for failing to do so. Thank you very much. Great to see everyone.
We have a different liaison from the BP's office tonight. I think Porfirio's here.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Porfirio Figueroa. I'm the Deputy Director of Community Affairs for the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine. And I wanted to thank you all who attended the State of the Borough last Sunday. We had an incredible turnout with many community members having the opportunity to hear Borough President Levine highlight the work our office has achieved over the past year, but also the vision for his future for the Borough of Manhattan. Highlights included his call for affordable housing, as the average rents in Manhattan surpass $5,000 and two-bedroom apartments exceed $10,000. He reiterated his call to build affordable housing across the borough and highlighted the progress made at 25 Water Street, America's largest office to residential conversion project, emphasizing the impact that commercial to residential office conversions can have and must play in addressing our housing affordability crisis. He also called for mental health care reforms and a bold investment in long-term psychiatric care, including a major expansion of beds at Manhattan Psychiatric Center on Randall's Island and Bellevue Hospital, alongside a student loan forgiveness program to attract more professionals into the psychiatric workforce. A community board update for everyone that reapplied to serve on their community board. We thank you. We had a tremendous outpouring of interest this year with over 950 applicants. We are in our last board reviews, and we should be making our announcements with second week of May. If you or a fellow board member or new applicant missed their interview, please have them email Eric Cuello, our director, or your liaison, who is Sawaiba Sabaj, for makeup, and that's who I'm stepping in for today. The sidewalk shed bills were passed this week, taking a strong step to cut down the number of sheds across the city and improve the design of those that we need to keep up. On the subject of Wallman Rink, Borough President Mark Levine, in conjunction with Council Member Shekhar Krishnan, Chair of the Parks Committee, wrote a letter to the mayor's office urging the city to reject Trump's bid for the contract to operate Wallman Rink. Our parks and spaces are meant to be open and welcoming to all, which they believe contradicts Trump's brand. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Let's go to Julia Mayenza.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. My name's Julia Mayenza. I work for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office covering the Upper West Side. I have a few announcements today. One exciting event, which is in the CB7 area, is a really powerful one. It's the Crime Victims Vigil, which is a candlelight vigil for victims of crime in partnership with the Crime Victim Vigil Planning Committee, including the Attorney General's office and some other city district attorneys' offices. The theme this year is kinship, connection, and healing. It is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday, April 6th at West End Collegiate Church, which is at 245 West 77th Street. So again, that's on Sunday. It'd be really wonderful to get a great turnout to really turn out and listen to some of the really powerful stories from survivors of crime. There was always very powerful stories from domestic violence survivors and others about their experiences and really coming alongside them and empowering them. I also wanted to thank Community Board 7 and local businesses and business leaders. We had a very successful trespass notice training, which is a training we've held kind of around the borough in different neighborhoods to speak about best practices for trespass notices, which are documents that businesses can utilize to sort of prohibit the permission of retail recidivists, the kind of top priority recidivists from their store. And that way it makes it easier for us when it comes through our office to elevate those charges and find meaningful case outcomes, whether that's a prosecution, a felony burglary prosecution, or that's treating those underlying needs that might be substance abuse or mental health. Finally, I wanted to briefly touch on the DA calling on Shenzhen Creality, the manufacturer of one of the most popular 3D printers for ghost guns, similar to what we did with YouTube, which actually did have them change their policies around gun creation. This would be huge to stop the proliferation of ghost guns, which are a huge problem we're seeing in the community in our work against gun violence. So thank you so much. I'll be respectful of everyone's time, but I hope you have a great rest of your meeting and a great rest of your month.
Ben Lowenstein.
Hi, everyone. Ben Lowenstein from Assemblymember Tony Simone's office here. Assemblymember Simone is up in Albany at the moment, finalizing the budget. I'm pleased to announce that the Assembly Members Bill A1014 was recently passed in the Assembly and Senate. The bill authorizes local boards of elections to establish secure ballot drop boxes, emulating the systems of other states that have successfully conducted vote by mail elections for years by providing voters a convenient alternative option to submit their ballots without having to rely on an overburdened postal service struggling to keep up with an unprecedented volume of ballot submissions. With a long record of attacks on democracy coming from Donald Trump and the weaponization of the federal government, such as the current effort to dismantle the post office, it is more important now than ever to ensure all New Yorkers can safely and securely vote. We have a couple of events happening in our district, a little bit south of CB7, but I did want to invite everybody. We are hosting a town hall Saturday, May 3rd at 320 West 21st Street. That's PS 11, starting at 11 a.m. We also have a bus offering free mammograms. This will be on May 22nd from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Right outside Fulton Houses, 421 West 17th Street. You can sign up at bit.ly/Simone-mammogram-bus. The program is open to New York City residents ages 40 to 75 who have not had a mammogram within the last 12 months. Please reach out to our office for more information. Thank you so much.
Next, we'll have one of my favorite humans and former executive director of the Columbus Amsterdam bid, Peter Arnsten.
Good evening. It's good to be with you. It's good to see your voice, your faces, hear your voices. Does that work okay? Okay, good enough. Sorry about that. So thank you, and I want to say thank you very much to the student who highlighted the problems with ICE. This is an incredibly important topic, and I really hope that we can do something about it. I'd also like you to educate yourself and find out more about the lawsuit that Karpen and the St. Paul and St. Andrew and a number of other congregations are involved with to stop the invasion of sanctuary around the city and around the country, for that matter. Last bit is on the gentleman that had the problem with organics, and it is a problem. It's something that's going to take work, but it's incredibly important for the city in terms of saving money for DSNY and in terms of getting lower energy costs, in terms of trucking stuff halfway across the country to somebody else's backyard, and in terms of turning what has been a problem into something that could be positive through compost or through energy rather than producing methane. So thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks. I think we got through everyone. Is there anyone from an elected's office or city agency that still needs to speak? It's here in person. No, okay, I didn't think so. So just one other reminder, if you're a board member, we do need you to put your camera on. That's something the executive committee asked me to bring up. And then finally, Erica Overton is not here from Linda Rosenthal's office, and she asked me to give her apologies. She's very sick.
Thank you. And that concludes the community session. And I'd like us to now use your phone to say yes if you are here to the roll call. Yeah. Okay. Okay, is there anyone who has not succeeded in issuing their vote? Okay. All done, thank you. With that, we will open the business session. There are two resolutions in draft this month that came out of the steering committee. And the first one is a one related to the discovery law amendments that were mentioned by Michael Asher's representative. And I'd like to turn to Doug Kleiman, who brought us that resolution to present it.
Thank you. First of all, I did want to just echo what Julia Manza said. We had a great trespass notice training on March 13th. The 3 bids participated in getting members of the bid to participate in this training that the DA's office offered. We co-sponsored it. We're going to do it again. So anyone within the shot of my voice who did not attend, this is retailers, property managers, security. These are old laws on the books. It's nothing new. These are tools in the toolbox that can help with recidivist shoplifting and hopefully keep some of our stores open. We had a nice discussion, a very vibrant discussion at steering regarding the discovery reforms and some changes. There were a whole host of changes that the district attorney's office, Alvin Bragg's office, has proposed. We went through them and we had a great presentation from the DA's office. We decided as a steering committee that we were not going to take a vote. We needed more information from the defense, which we'll do. We'll see how it turns out in terms of the timing of the budget hearings in Albany. But what we did do was pass a more narrow set of bills that were co-sponsored by Assemblymember Lash's office and a sibling bill from Myrie. It was Senate Bill S613 and Assembly Bill is A825. Summarily, what it is, it's all on our website, and for those of you who saw the agenda, the full description of the resolution and the actual full text of both bills are there's links to that. But basically, in short, it allows the DA's office to have direct access into the NYPD's data for read-only to get evidence to support prosecution. So it's a very narrow sliver. The resolution passed unanimously at steering with a vote of 16-000 and one non-committee board member in the affirmative of 1-0-0-0. So unless there's any questions, I would, yes. And should we get you on mic? Okay, well then, people at home can't hear you, but I can repeat your question if you want.
As I understand it, only the DA has access to this information, and it's to read only, so he can't deliver it to the defense. And it is monumentally unfair to the defense. It is an absolute travesty, and I urge the board to vote against it.
What I would like to point out, and for those of you who read the full text or both of the bills, Legal Aid Society supports both set of bills. The broader bills that were brought about from the DA's office, we've taken a position. So this is 2 bills that are both sibling bills, again, by Legal Aid Society, and unanimously passed at steering.
I'm not familiar enough with the details, Doug, but in general, I agree with Richard. I mean, if there's going to be access to evidence, even on a read-only basis, it should be equal. And if there's been some problem in obtaining that evidence, it should be the same problem for both sides and the same access for both sides. So at least for the present time, I would also vote against it and urge that we don't support it. I'm frankly surprised that there's an endorsement by legal aid. I would like to know more about that.
We just.
I think there's a misunderstanding here. Right now, the law requires that within a very demanding timeline, the prosecution gives every single bit of related evidence to the defense. That law is still there, and this does not impact it. What this does is to assist the prosecution, who has been having trouble getting that information in a timely way, so that they can then give it to the defense. It's really all related to that timeline more than, that this information would be denied to the defense. It's to help get it to the defense within the timelines that are required under the law.
Just ask all board members to please be courteous to other board members and keep side conversations down as well. Thank you.
Yeah, just to clarify exactly, there was a long discussion at steering about the governor's proposals, which we did not take a position on. This, both. What this bill specifically does is it would make New York more like other states like New Jersey, for example, where the district attorney would be able to access records from the NYPD without the NYPD giving the records. Right now, there's a serious issue with the NYPD being very slow to give information to the district attorney, and then the district attorney provides that information to the defense. The real challenge with the discovery reforms has not been the DA not being able to give the defense stuff. It's really been that the DA's office, especially in the 5 counties that comprise New York City, have struggled to get information from the NYPD, and this bill would make that process happen faster. So I think that is why we all supported it unanimously, because it's just making it easier for folks to get stuff from the New York Police Department and other police departments and other counties.
Yeah, I have the queue in my head. Don't worry.
Yeah, I just, as a practicing attorney and litigator, I wanted to clarify the point that Beverly just made, which is that any evidence used by the DA's office by law has to be disclosed to the defense 60 days before it's being used in court. There is no situation or scenario where the prosecutors could use this information without it being disclosed to defense attorneys at a minimum of 60 days, depending on the scenario, before it was ever used in any sort of court proceeding. And failure to turn over to the defense in a timely manner would end up in immediate dismissal of the criminal action. My question for Doug or whoever is what is the specific issue that this is trying to remedy here? Is it that the NYPD is not being responsive to discovery requests? Is that sort of what we're trying to remedy with this provision?
The simple answer is yes. It also, the legislature has also basically said summarily that these reforms are going to promote timely and fair criminal case resolution, advancing justice, and in a timely way, obviously, right, for speedy trials, and that it serves the defendants and public as well. So this was a very narrow sliver of bills that, to me, is, again, I'm very disappointed that, once again, people that did not attend the steering committee nor access the YouTube video nor access the drive. I painstakingly went through, and the bills are on our website, our resolutions on our website, and we have people that are very critical of this but have not had the opportunity to weigh in, and that's a bummer. I see Avi. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't at the meeting. I have two questions. One, why is it that they need to access the entire database? Is there no way to have a system that they access what is necessary for them to access? It seems like you're providing them with too much access.
It's not the entire database of the NYPD. It would be for evidence base that's relevant to the case. It's not. It's read only. And yes, it's obviously it's not. The DA does not have access to the entire NYPD system.
And I was saying, I understand that the prosecution has to hand over the evidence to the defense, but I mean, I'm assuming also legally the NYPD is required to hand it over to the prosecution. So if we're already allowing this for the prosecution, why not also allow for the defense? I get the prosecution does have to hand it over to the defense, but if we're going to already make this to make it easier, why not also make it easier for the defense?
One thing that I understand this is solving for is that some things are digital and some things are are still analog and paper. So, you know, this is an attempt to get the evidence more quickly. And again, to me, it's a win-win. It's bilaterally beneficial, in my humble opinion, as a non-attorney.
Jami, we're going to come to you, and then we'll come back around to some folks who spoke.
So I was at the meeting, and it was, as Adam pointed out, a very fulsome discussion, and we did vote in favor. But I would simply ask, given this the effort in our country to recalibrate the criminal justice system in ways that are that consider the long arc of history, you know, which is supposed to bend toward justice, that when we have these conversations, even if legal aid did, I don't know if the word endorse would be right, but support this reform, that we hear from both sides of the bar when we have these kinds of conversations. As a journalist, I remember always having a press conference where NYPD would come and give us their press release about who they arrested or what the charges were, and then that becomes the news story of the day. And we want to hear both sides. We want to hear the other side. The presumption is innocence, not guilt. And I think when we have these conversations in committee, it's important to get both perspectives when we're going to be recalibrating a major discovery law or any law in the criminal justice system.
Well, I have a very quick question. What is the most strong argument against it? I don't really get it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure maybe someone here who could argue against it. I am in favor of this. I think it's such a narrow sliver of a bill that was unanimously passed, right? And I don't know where the controversy is. I don't personally understand it. If somebody else wishes to speak to the minority, sure.
In the form of a question, why is it read only? Which to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, means there's no trail from the access by the prosecution beyond that.
Very simply put, the documents can't be manipulated. They can't be changed. They are read only. They can only be looked at. It's like a PDF, that's right. So if I sent you a Microsoft Word document that was not PDF, you could manipulate it, you can change it. This is read only. The DA's office cannot manipulate the documents. That's as simple as that.
If it's read only, what mechanism does the defense suffer?
I appreciate the explanation, Doug. And if read, just a second.
Well, I appreciate it. You may not. the, as long as it's clear from the legislation, and I haven't, it's true, I haven't read the entire text, but as long as it's clear from the legislation that read-only is limited to an inability to manipulate the data rather than to reproduce and distribute it, then I would withdraw my objection.
Anyone have any additional new commentary? Anyone that has not spoke? Members of the board? Okay. Javier, I don't know. Is that a? Throw it up there.
I said with the previous question, if it's read only, does that not mean that the prosecution can't take it out of the database and so actually can't provide it for discovery for the defense?
Yeah.
Julia Manza from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, I believe, may want to say something. Julia, are you there?
Hi, Doug. Thanks so much. Yeah, I wanted to answer a few of the questions. One of them being about the one just mentioned, that they can't be taken out of the database. That's not true. As Doug said, it's read only as they. And this is not, our bill. I want to make clear that it is Assemblymember Lasher's bill that the office supports, as does Legal Aid Society, as does the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, but that it does kind of lessen the hurdles to turn over that discovery evidence to the defense. I would say that I couldn't see a world in which a defense counsel could get the kind of access, the full scope of NYPD evidence that the prosecution gets before we turn it over. That's why the discovery process allows for district attorneys to turn that over in speedy compliance to make sure that it is fair and we're not going back to the pre-2019 laws, which were supremely unfair to the defense counsel. But yeah, as Doug mentioned, this is kind of a narrow slice of that, but it would make the burden on the district attorney's offices lighter to get that evidence so that they can turn it over to the defense counsel in time.
All those in favor of supporting Michael Asher's bill, which is Assembly Bill A825, and Senator Myrie's bill, Senate Bill S613, please vote now. Just actually, yeah, right. That's right. We're vote as you like on your app. Oh, is she? Okay. Okay. And Paige, how do you wish to vote? Is that a yes? Okay. Thank you. Anybody else having problems voting? Good. Passes. Okay. Want to say that on the mic?
32-340.
And back to our chair.
Thank you. The next item also from steering committee, brought to by me, regarding the investment policies of the New York City Controller. Kevin, would you like to present your resolution?
Thank you, Beverly, and good evening, everyone. So you're all aware, since January 20th, the Trump administration's been coming out with several executive orders. One of those executive orders has resulted in institutions, corporations, either eliminating or scaling back diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. This resolution that passed unanimously by steering 2 weeks ago focuses and urges the New York City Comptroller as well as the Chief Investment Officer of the New York City Public Pension Fund to work with the leaders in their ecosystem. In other words, CEOs of companies in their investment portfolio, leaders with the investment management firms that they hire to encourage inclusion, meritorious opportunities, and equity. And that's what this focuses on. As you may know, the New York City Public Pension Plan is the third largest municipal pension plan in the country, with over 280 billion under management. Studies have found that organizations that embrace inclusion and equity and diversity have better financial metrics and perform better overall. So that's what this resolution covers. So it passed unanimously, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll open it up.
Any questions, comments? All right, it's been called to question. Is voting's live? Voting is live.
Having technical. Yay. And we're back, everyone.
So I'm going to be presenting a couple of resolutions. The first one is for playground. It is located, it's on Amsterdam, located on between 100th and 101st Street. So next one. This is a slide of the existing conditions. It's currently, the playground area is over here. It's outdated and worn. The entrances to the playground are here and the upper corner. And those are the only entrances. In order to access the play equipment, you have to go through a corridor, cross the basketball, like behind the basketball court and the handball court, and past the in-ground mini pool to get to the play equipment. So there are a lot of things that the reconstruction is proposing to address. In addition to just the circulation, they also want to make sure that it's updated for sustainability reasons and to address all the environmental, or enhance all the environmental amenities with it. I just want to note one thing, the in-ground mini pool, and there's a black square, which is the bathroom, that is not within scope of this reconstruction. Next one. So here are some of the images of the current conditions. This is that long corridor before you can even access the playground. So they have these high fences. Next one. This is the actual going into the playground after you go down the structure. There's the basketball court and the playground on the left. Next one. And this is the state of the equipment, and we have the 10-foot swings. The 10-foot swings are actually very popular. They're going to stay. The play equipment, though, is outdated, worn, unacceptable. Plus, you notice the safety surface is not permeable. Look, there's water right there. You can see it. And the safety surface is very old. Next one. So this is the proposed plan. You will see that they opened up an entrance on this corner and made it very welcoming. The basketball court was removed, and in its place was put a playground hoop equipment, which you'll see in a second. The play structures were moved in the middle. There are now sprinklers and spray features on the bottom, and we have a tot lot on the top. And in general, the flow is better. They've included more lights. They've updated the tables and essentially made even the entrances around the bathroom accessible. Next one. This is an example of the 5 to 12 play structure and the safety surface. Next one. And these are some of the furnishings they would like to put in. Even though the basketball court is gone, you'll see that this is this playground hoop game. This is a more inclusive game that is inclusive for kids with different abilities. And then we have these pavement graphics that are actually going to circle the playground. Next one. And in terms of permeability, they are going to they're proposing to increase the permeability from 3% to 15% with this reconstruction. Next one. And, our committee thought that the playground was really colorful and thoughtful. We thought it really addressed a lot of what the community asked for. And they did a really good job of reaching out to the community and listening. So this resolution passed in committee with a vote of 8-0 to 0 in favor of this plan.
Yeah, no problem. Any other folks just raise their hands again real quick?
Thanks. When playgrounds are being renovated or built, do they have a particular age group they have in mind?
next one, the other one. Keep going. It's the one. That one. Right here. Yes. So they have 3 different age groups they'll be addressing. In the center, which is where they're relocating it, making it more central, it's going to be the 5 to 12. And I think it's and the 2 to 5. And then in the area over here, which is new, and that's something that you pointed out, right? This is now a new area called the Tot Lot. It's really in response to the community asking for a place where younger kids can run around with some safety structures in place. And that's what that little area is. It's smaller. It's for under 2 toddler age, and it has like a little, gates around it and smaller structures.
This has been our district needs and our capital budget priorities for about 7 or 8 years. So just so everyone knows.
I assume that the basketball court now gets used by teenagers primarily, right now. Assuming that that's the case, is there any alternative for them when the basketball court disappears?
That's a great question. It was actually asked by Alex Bell in our committee meeting. The basketball court was removed just because of the placement, and it wasn't regulation size. And they also pointed out that there are multiple playgrounds and play areas really near to this playground that actually has like regulation size basketball courts that are very popular. So I actually looked it up later on. It was Bloomingdale. I think Booker T has it. Happy Warrior, a little south of this, has it too. So there are basketball courts within, a few blocks of this area. And the Parks Department did not feel that it would be missed too much from this playground.
I was just wondering if you knew how much this is costing and who's paying for it, because it's on a NYCHA campus.
So it's on the first slide. The total budget is 8.4 million. 3.55 is from Sean Abreu's office, and the other 4.85 is from the mayor's office. Oh. No, there's no federal funding in this.
Question's been called.
$39,010.
Thank you. Okay, so we have I'm presenting a resolution for a new public art exhibition that's brought to us by the Broadway Mall Association. This, and I also wanted to thank Barbara for helping to draft this resolution. So Broadway Mall Association has facilitated many of these temporary art exhibits up and down Broadway in CB7. And the next artist is a sculptor named Carl Dalvia, who comes to us from his gallery Hesse Flatto in Manhattan. So this is the art that was presented to us, and these images are rendered and their placements are approximate. But the first one on the upper left is called Tandem. It's going to be installed in Dante Park at 64th Street. The second one, top right, is called Hot Rod. That's going to be installed outside the entrance to the subway on 72nd Street. The one on the lower left is called SAP. This image actually doesn't represent the actual placement. There's a cutout on 79th Street. They're going to place the sculpture there. It's going to be nestled in there so it doesn't impede pedestrian traffic. And the final one is called Spectre. That's on 103rd Street. So they're hoping to install and open this by the end of April, and they currently anticipate that this will run about 6 months. Our committee across the board found Carl's work to be colorful, bright, abstract, and playful. We applauded the choice of the artist and the work, and we unanimously approved this temporary installation with a committee vote of 8-0 to 0 to 0.
Any questions or comments? Oh, wait, we have a hand raised.
Do you have any idea how long these art pieces will be in those respective locations?
They anticipate 6 months. 6 months. So till October, before it gets too cold to actually start removing these installations.
Any other questions? Question's been called. Alex, is voting open? Voting is now open.
Okay, 3 seconds. Get your votes in. 2, 1. It carries 39,000.
Next at bat is the Preservation Committee. Oh, we have one more. Oh, and this is a big one too. Sorry, I forgot.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here tonight to present part of the Tang Wings new building. Actually, I'm here to present the landscaping aspect of this project. And preservation, Adam and Madge will present the actual building part of this project right after me. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold off all questions until both presentations have been made to provide everybody with as much context as possible before you ask. And also, I think we'll bundle the voting together also, if that's okay with everybody. I'm here to present the area of work, which is represented by the dashed line over here. There's Fifth Avenue towards the bottom of the page, and that's the drive, the East Drive above, and the dashed area is at the southwest corner of the Met Museum right now, what is called the Lila Aitchison Wallace building, or Lila Aitchison Wallace wing, LAW wing. The wing will come down, it'll be demolished entirely, and the future Tang wing will be constructed on top of that. You can move on. There were 3 specific landscaping goals for this project, And by the way, the landscape architect is Central Park Conservancy. It is not the Parks Department or any outside firm. It's the Conservancy. The first goal is to enhance the park user experience by creating an accessible path. Right now, if you could move on to the next one. Right now, as you can see over here on the left-hand side, there are 2 pinch points along the pathway that goes that exists in the work area, and those 2 red areas, they represent certain pinch points which make the passageway or the pathway not accessible. So what they're going to do is they're going to regrade the area around this. They're going to slightly relocate the actual pathway, and they're going to hopefully make the entire area fully ADA accessible all the way from 5th Avenue to the Great Lawn, something that has never been done before. They're also going to relocate the loading dock area, which is right now represented over here. It's kind of an awkward entrance with lots of curves and turns. They're going to make it come straight into, I think it's called the Petrie Court, and that will make loading easier. You could move on. This shows, this is just another rendering of the same, and it shows the grading around it. You could move on. Another goal, the second goal of the project is to continue to refine the park landscape by establishing a diverse planting palette that promotes biodiversity and is appropriate to the scenic landmark. The plantings that will be used will be similar to those already in the park, like diverse understory shrubs with ground cover. However, 15 trees will have to be removed, unfortunately, and 2 will be transplanted in the area. However, the Conservancy will also be planting 40 to 50 new trees in the area in exchange. And this shows you, an increase in the number of trees over here in the immediate area. This is another rendering of what will come off and then what will be sort of planted in exchange. And standard parks palette of materials will be used everywhere, like asphalt, pipe rail fence, settee benches. And the only new material that will be used is a reinforced lawn surface for the loading dock instead of asphalt. And hopefully that will be more resilient for its purpose. And then finally, the last major goal of the landscaping part of the project is to improve the museum interface with the park through planting, grading, and screening and views. And as you can see from this slide, right now the conditions are significantly deteriorated and very drab. But while you can move on. Here's some more of the conditions. I'm going to just skip through this actually because I think Adam is going to go over this. So you can keep this. Oh, yeah, you can keep this. So while the footprint of the design will remain the same as the current building, they're not actually increasing the footprint. It is important to acknowledge that because of 2 new floors that will be built from the 3rd to the 5th, the actual, it is important to acknowledge that the new height will be much taller than the LAW building. And this could potentially have an impact on the perception of the building for park users. However, the architect has implemented a few mitigating factors. First of all, like I said, the footprint remains exactly the same. Secondly, there are certain setbacks that will hopefully reduce the perception of the building from the park. And on the top 2 floors, the 4th and the 5th, there are actually terraces that are intended to bring the park into the museum. This is a rendering of the terrace as an extension of the park. The 4th floor and the 5th floor. That's another rendering of terrace, which is going to bring the park into the museum. And another one. These are some renderings of the views from the public way. They provided a lot of different images, but they weren't really very clear. I picked out a couple that were, I felt, more clear. The left-hand side one shows the current conditions, and the new one will show the right-hand side one shows the tangling, the proposed tangling. Moving on. This is another rendering. Moving on. This is a view from the East Drive. And I'm going to skip through these also. And another way that they're trying to emphasize their surroundings in the park is by trying to make more visual connections to the park. So this little sort of window and this window up there in the corner, from these areas, you'd be able to see the park outside directly. These are like picture windows. And I think maybe Adam will talk about the celosia cladding that is also expected to bring in more light and more nature into the building. So that was my presentation so far. Are there any other slides? Oh, this is a rendering of the celosia. More, you can keep moving. Oh, and just one last thing, as the Parks and Environment Committee, we were happy to hear that eventually, over the course of a decade or so, the new building will reduce the carbon footprint of the wing. So that was good to know. Thank you. I'll now pass it on to Adam.
Thanks so much. If we could pull the other deck up. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're just going to talk about the preservation issues. If we go to the next slide. This is where it is, as we just discussed. It's this southwest corner. Next slide. Existing conditions, I think we just covered this. I think we all know it. Pretty beat up, not the most exciting. Going to the next slide. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to be very different, but very cool. If we go to the next slide. The main thing is that the entire facade is going to be made up of this celosia. So these are all very narrow, tall limestone blocks, essentially. And they are going to create a screen. And then behind the screen is going to be glass or a wall material. But essentially, the entire building is going to be made out of this limestone with this screen effect. If we go to the next slide. As we just covered, it's not any taller than any of the existing parts of the building, so it's very in keeping with the rest of the museum in terms of massing. If we go to the next slide. And it's going to have some really awesome ways to have folks inside interact with the park. So there will be picture windows, but there will also be these great vistas out through the celosia screen. And if we go to the next slide. This is probably my favorite part, is this photo on the right. I think this is going to be the most popular place to visit in New York City, because you're going to get just this absolutely awesome view of the southern skyline. We just went through these views, but it's really not that visible from the park, even in winter. So you really can't tell the difference between what's there and what's coming. Here, it's a little more obvious because it'll be a slightly lighter stone color instead of the concrete. And this is a view that none of us will ever have because we are not birds. but this is what it will look like. So happy to answer any questions about the building or the landscaping.
Hold on, wait, 1 second, 1 second.
Can't speak until spoken. There you go. No, that's fine. Okay, so I've lived in New York all my life, and I got a job at the Met during college, and I spent 4 years there in the drawings department. And they were very, very careful about aggrandizing and adding to new pieces of art. And under the guise of these very large monumental blocks. They're not pretty. Limestone is a wonderful material, but if you look at the facades on these, they gradually enclose themselves so that the only thing you have left is skylight and walkways on the 5th or 7th or whatever it is floor that's being jacked up. The museum promised a long time ago that this was the end of their exploration and building. And I'm really kind of peeved that looking at this, you would not know that you would be in the best museum that the United States has to offer. It's just covered up concrete. There's no artwork. One thing rams into another. And then the only way you can get an aspect of the largeness of this is to take the elevator to the 5th, 6th, or 7th floor, eat something, and then look over a balcony. It's the essence of the design of this museum has been just turned into a series of blocks that don't relate to each other. So I'm disappointed and I will not support this.
Comment down there and then one over here.
So there's no, is there any glass on that facade?
One moment.
Sorry. So I'll respond to Paige and answer your question as well. I tried to keep this short. The Met gave a fantastic hour or two long presentation explaining how the current area does not meet the needs of a fantastic museum and their fantastic contemporary art collection. The pieces have gotten much bigger. The pieces have gotten much heavier. So this work is necessary. They did a really great job describing about the evolution of the Met and the different styles and how it has continued to expand and the importance of bringing in new architects and new vision. And we heard from the architect who is really fabulous. And she explained how she came up with this idea. This also is going to solve a lot of the problems that Paige just mentioned. This will really improve the circulation. This will make these this large roof garden that we've all been to that's closed for most of the year, that closes if it's raining. It will create much more of those opportunities year round. So you will be able to get a sense of it. And Howard, to your final question in terms of glass, the first thing I would say is that glass is actually horrendous for a museum. The light is really, really bad for artwork. So if you asked anyone who worked at a museum what they would want it to look like, would be no glass at all. In this case, there actually is a fair amount of glazing. So there's this big window here. There's a section here where it's glass behind the celicea. And then there's some windows here and here as well, which are not covered by the celicea. A huge issue with the existing wing is that there are gigantic skylights, and those skylights have been closed for all 45 years that they've existed because the light is so damaging to art.
This is just a little more specific and following up on what Adam said. I think this is, the rendering there is somewhat deceptive. It looks like a solid masonry wall on the west, the longer part there, and also the south. As I understand it, I'm a committee member, and I think this is what you were saying as well, Adam, is that the the actual exterior wall that encloses the wing, the exhibition space, is largely glass, and then this screen, this limestone screen called a celicea, there are other names for it in other languages, sits a good, probably at least 2 feet away from, or farther out from this glass. It has to allow for work persons to get between it and the glass to wash the glass. So it serves as a screen to prevent sun and heat, or the heat and light damage from the sun, from doing unduly entering the exhibition space. Is that right, Adam?
I think actually the majority of the building is not glazed, but there are significant elements of glazing. If there are no other, oh, sorry.
What have all the other community boards resolved to do?
I don't know, and we're the Upper West Side, so I think we can do whatever we feel. I think it's appropriate. I don't think we should be. I don't know. I didn't look to see what the Upper East Side thinks of the building, which I will say is on the west side of Fifth Avenue, which means it is on the west side, no matter what the people on the Upper East Side think.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right. I know that it was presented at CB11, CB8, and also CB11. Yeah, I mean, these are the two I know of that they did approve it as presented.
But I've asked for the comments from those other boards. I think there may be one or two more. So I would like this committee to wait and see if it really is unanimous all the way around the park.
Do we have any, I have a personal comment, but I want to make sure everyone else has a moment before I jump in. Yeah.
I'll just say that I support any expansion of the Met. One of the reasons it is the best museum in the world is that the board there has great curatorial taste. If they say they need this space to better present artwork, I believe them, and I've read their presentation. It's wonderful, as Adam was saying. They have a great architect, and I trust them. So that's my 2 cents.
Additional comments? I will just quickly say, as someone who was employed at a museum, that I think the best museum, best art museum, I'll give the Met. Best museum, I'll give natural history. Yeah, I think this is within the design of the building. It's within the size of the building. Museums are part of what make New York great. This museum is one of the ones that especially makes New York great. I don't think it's an outlandish design. I think it's very consistent. I know what it's like on the other end operationally, all those things that we don't necessarily consider, loading docks, all that type of stuff. That's all really critical to continued success for these institutions. I think we have a lot of problems around Central Park with building. We have huge towers that are being contemplated. I don't think this is the thing that we should be fighting. So I 100% support this.
What's the timeline for construction, if you know?
2026 construction will begin. The building will be constructed first, and then right at the end, they will start the landscaping work, and they expect to open in 2030. 2030. Yeah.
Any additional questions, or can we call this to question?
Also, Natasha and I spoke, we'd love to bundle the resolutions because there's a separate one for the landscaping and the building. Does anyone have an issue with that?
Okay. So the question has been called as bundled between preservation and parks.
All right. Ooh, get your votes in. Currently 33,000. Anyone want to vote manually? No? Currently we have 36,100. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. The vote carries 37,100.
Hi, simple one. These are windows at 400 West End Avenue on the corner of 79th Street. There are 4 windows on the south facade. The building is part of the West End Historic District, and it was designated in, it was built in the 30s. Pre-designation, almost all the building windows were changed from casements with divided lights to 1/1 windows. There are a few tilt and turn windows. In the last 2 years, we've approved 2 other window sets in this building, and Landmarks approved them as well. So this is simply a set of 1/1 windows. That's 1/1 now, and they're going to replace them with other 1/1s. That's it. Call the question.
Okay, voting is open. So far, 30,000. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. 34,000.
Now for the happy part of the meeting. Just by quick raise of hands, how many of you are attorneys? Yeah. Keep up the good work. Oh, me too. Yeah, that's right. We have 3 applications, 2 I'd like to bundle. They are 2 restaurants. One is at West 81st Street, the Pizzeria Uno. They're looking for a 2-year license, and the other one is 774 Amsterdam, Sipsteria. Anybody been there? They're looking for a liquor license also. We unanimously, our petite committee unanimously voted to approve it. No, I'm really happy I'm back on this committee. I miss everybody else. It's good to work with you all. Yeah. So we resolved unanimously to approve this application and ask for your approval also. Well, any questions? Okay. Thank you, Howard.
Okay, get your votes in. Okay. 5, 4. Okay, carries 34,000.
Thank you. And our next item is for approval of a retail dispensary at 716 Amsterdam. The thing that's different about this application is that it's a family-run business. It's not a corporation business. And the family came, and the daughter, who's a nurse, came, and and they are also neighborhood people and have been for a long time. So they know what the rules are. They're going to pay attention. There's a lot of rules. And I think it was Josh who often said, come to the meetings and see what these applicants have to go through to get these licenses. We approved this application and are asking for your approval. Doug.
Just a point of information, and I did vote to support this. They were lovely people. This is a card license. But just for clarification, they are all seeking a variance because they are within 1,000 feet of another licensed dispensary on 92nd and Broadway. They said that they were within 10 inches of the 1,000 feet. My mapping indicated a little further. They were probably within 20 feet. I thought it was de minimis, but this is a variance. Thanks.
The rules are going to change and it won't. But but like Doug said, he voted in favor of this application. Anybody else have a question in the public? All right, so please vote yes. Thank you.
Question is, how long is the license for? 2 years. Okay, get your votes in. Currently, it's 29,320. Okay. And it carries 30,320.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I'd like to ask our council member, Gail Brewer, to come forward. We have one mic we're all sharing tonight. So here you are.
Thank you very much, Beverly. So in terms of things that are going on, West Park Presbyterian Church, which is my nemesis, I would say that today the mayor's office spoke to the center, which is the art center. We're still trying to find a way that the art center and the presbytery can have a conversation, because that does seem to be the only way we're going to be able to purchase the building and get out of this mess. That hasn't resulted in a meeting today, but at least it's a discussion. And it's kind of hard to know who to talk to at City Hall right now. That's one of the problems. So we're trying on that front. Number 2, woman rink. I am not a supporter of either the man in the orange or another private. Just to be honest with you, I would love to have the Central Park Conservancy take over woman rink. I said that even when Related got the rink. So it's not a new position. So we're doing a letter with all the elected officials in Manhattan asking that Central Park Conservancy, they have a wonderful rink in the northern part. Last year, they could run it just as well and less expensively for the public. And there's a lot of infrastructure, and they've offered a huge amount of money to be able to do it. So far from the Parks Department, no, we are going to do it private. So that really irritates me. So I don't know if the community board wants to take that up, but just so you know, I think it should be run by the Conservancy. Thanks to the community board, we're continuing to work at Exdel ABC. There's no definite yet, but we're continuing to work on that issue. And we're also continuing to work on 1972 Broadway, which is the child care center. I know that you're going to bring that up at your meeting. And we have not heard. I called today to say what the hell's happened since we had a walkthrough. So those things are ongoing. I want to just mention, because I don't think people know, that we give $100,000 every year to One Block, which cleans the streets, and to the Goddard Greenkeepers. You know, just so you know, because you wonder sometimes who's doing, because it does seem so dirty, but they are very diligent about trying to keep the city clean. A couple of street co-namings. We know that you passed Linda Carter Cooper, who was my dear friend, and many people here. And on 4/18, April 18th, at the corner of 84th and Amsterdam, I don't know what time, but I'm sure you do, there will be a street co-naming for Linda Carter Cooper. And I think there's a reception afterwards for her, with her family. The next deadline to submit street co-naming is Friday, May 9th. And I think there's some folks who are still trying to get signatures and make that date. Because whatever it is that you need to do, we need it by May 9th. Participatory budgeting is going very well. Oh my God, we've been to every school. I think we have 500 students participating tomorrow, and we had 800 last week, and we have Lincoln's the library at Lincoln Center and the St. Agnes Library and our district office and pop-up locations. We were at Amsterdam houses over the weekend. So I think people are energized, partly because of the federal situation and the local situation. They don't know what's going on. So just voting on something that feels local, I think is something very positive. We have huge interest. And the topics here, they're very much, you're welcome to vote. You can do it online. There's a lot of schools, there's tree guards, there's a Broadway malls, there's Riverside Park issues, and there's auditorium, and lots of schools and lots of parks. And so you should look at the list on the website or online, whatever is best for you, and vote, because it's a good way to get things to happen. I think I mentioned this last time, but there are 2 charter revision commissions going on. And so I think it's really weird to have 2, but I've testified at both of them. I'll keep testifying at both of them. One is one by the speaker. I think the next one, I don't know the date, is May 20th. That's their date at John Jay College. That's the speaker's one. It's called the New York Commission to Strengthen Local Democracy. Really, you can talk about anything you want that you think the charter should change. I mostly talked about oversight and the fact that there's not enough of it, of some of these agencies. And then the charter revision that the mayor has, I think, is Wednesday, April 23rd, coming up at New York Law School. There are many other sessions, but those are the ones in Manhattan. And they seem to be talking about housing or anything else, housing and governance, anything else that you want to talk about. I have no idea what's going to end up on the ballot. I think you know about sidewalk sheds passed the city council on the 26th of March, and I believe will be signed by the mayor. We all have that information. If you need it, let us know. We have 2 Parks Committee topics coming up in the council. One I've been working on for years, which is getting many more, maybe not all, but many more school playgrounds to be open weekends and summer. You obviously have, we have great weekend and summer playgrounds run either by the Trust for Public Land or jointly operated by Parks and DOE. However, like PS9, huge, locked up. I can't tell you how many people have complained to me in the summer, why can't they play basketball there? Because the entire summer is locked. So this was unbeknownst to me, the mayor mentioned it in his state of city. I called him, I said, mentioning it, I had no idea you even knew about the issue. He said, I got it from you. I said, Mr. Mayor, you did not. I do not believe that. I did get it in the speaker, Adrienne Adams of the city, and she mentioned it because I asked her to, which I appreciate. So we have a bill, let's see it happens, hope it happens. We do have to pay the custodians, understandably, because it has to be clean on Monday morning. Another intro would increase the number of drinking fountains adjacent to public parks. I mean, you can't tell people to not drink soda and drink water if, in fact, there's not enough fountains to be able to do that. So that's something that I feel also very strongly about. We have a hearing coming up on New York City food infrastructure and the quality of produce in New York City on April 8th. And this is obviously the issue that everybody's talking about in terms of the cost of food and why it's so expensive and so on and so forth. So if you're interested, please feel free to join us. We have lots of events. We have a street tree care clinic. I think it's number 4 or 5. We're doing the housing clinics. April 3rd at 4:30, we have the district office open house this week. We have the animal adoptions. We have community recycling day at JCC coming up. And we have a bike helmet giveaway and bike bonanza. Thank you very much.
One second, Joe. Yeah, so the people at home can hear.
Again, what's the rationale of Parks in insisting that running wall can't be by the Central Park Conservancy and has to be private? Doesn't make sense.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jay. I have been, the last time, like I said before, it went private, so to speak. I was the one fussing and put out press conferences and letters. I got absolutely nowhere. And at the most recent Parks budget hearing, I asked the commissioner. Commissioner Parks signs off on these things. Why in the world, when you have Lasker, that they are doing a beautiful job of renovating, and they have the money, they have both, and they will make the infrastructure. Apparently, Woolman's in bad shape in terms of the they would do the infrastructure, they would charge rates that are more applicable to ordinary New Yorkers. If you go there now, you'll see how expensive it is. And they would do a great job. But again, a resolution from the community board would be helpful. Thank you. I feel very, very strongly about this.
Thank you, Gail. That concludes our business session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you. Good night.